Good morning, Denise Dryden. I'm out here on Bainbridge underneath this covered roof, and you can hear the sprinkling or the actual raining. And I've got all these evergreens around me, and this place is sort of nestled up in the trees, so it's beautiful. So you can hear the pitter patter in the background. It's lovely. So today I want to talk about new territories, because we are, breaking new ground all the time. And these new territories of ours are all over the place. And so I thought I would sort of go through them from a mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, sort of use all four elements and sort of address what might be going on with some of these new territories. And then of course, in the last few minutes is to give you some tips as to what do we do when we're in new territory, right? So, as we approach this, I want to start first with the physical, because, when we look around, our physical environment has changed so much. We've got this pandemic, this shutdown. There's various stages in the country that are really rigid, and some that are very loose, and lots of speculation about travel and borders and international travel. So we have restricted areas, we have lockdowns, we have variances in how this is imposed on us as individuals. With work, the way that we make our living, we are either in our houses working specifically remote, or we're going in under very restricted and regulated environment ways. I'm stumbling a little bit, I'm sorry. And it's changing our family dynamics, it's changing some of the things that we set up on the work and child, and how do we do this? How do we homeschool? How do we take care of ourselves? How do we make an income? And it's affecting, our income levels on as far as what do we want to do with housing? Is this really working? We've got to cut some costs. We've got to expand. We need more space. All of the physical 3D parts of us are being sort of moved and shifted. And it's like, what are we supposed to do with this? Our bodies need exercise. We want air. We've got masks on. We've got all of these physical things that are coming up, right? So one more element of the physical that I wanted to sort of go to is that in addition to all of these physical 3D changes going on around us, our DNA is changing. It's awakening. It's coming online. And, depending on who you talk to, it's starting to sound like a lot more of our chakras are coming online as well. So we're going from 7 to 12. We're expanding. And this also means that our throat chakra is starting to sort of open up. It's becoming uncollared, according to Tim Wilde. It's really a good idea. It's a good concept that is becoming freer. And so when we look at our throat chakra, that's our olfactory. That's our eyes. That's our nose. That's our ability to taste. That's our ability to breathe. That's our ability to swallow. It's our ability to speak. This entire throat chakra is coming online as well. So we have this ability to see the truth, to hear the truth, and to speak the truth. And sometimes these are like, I had no idea this was going on, because we're seeing things for the first time, or we're hearing things. And so all of this processing is starting to change in us. So that's how we're dealing with the physical element of new territories, just to begin with, right? So now I want to shift to the mental, because I want to make sure that we're timely on this, and that I don't use too much of your time, and that we go right after the topic. So our intelligences are also becoming more engaged. We have a lot more access to problem-solving skills, our creativity, our presence, our pacing. These are all things that in our head we're sort of slowing down, we're speeding up, we're expanding, we're watching, where our intuitive skills are starting to pair with our mind. So our brain is starting to shift in how we gather information, right? We're also looking at this concept of dualism, and I've done videos on this on like both and. The concept that we're being challenged on things are no longer right or wrong, good or bad. They're both. And so we're seeing that the lines are starting to get a little fuzzy and yet a lot clearer. So we have clarity, but we're not as rigid. And so these mental constructs that we hold are crumbling. they're starting to dismantle the ways that we have, the ways that we rely on information, the ways that we rely on leadership, the way that we depend on financial security. And we're looking at leadership, we're looking at how we negotiate and collaborate around impasses and rigidity. And so our mental capacity is being stretched into new territories as well. It's like, how do we become a collective, collaborative, problem-solving team when everything is changing around us? So those are now the physical and the mental. And it makes sense that you know, these are all huge new changes. So I want to go next to the emotional. So the emotional is what we're discovering feelings on so many different levels. Feelings of, and what I would say is that the propensity of the internet, the World Wide Web, right? According to the Hopi prophecy, the web, that's going to introduce all of us to access visually, auditory information that brings us into witnessing and feeling and interacting emotionally with each other. So when we feel, we emit a vibration. And what we're doing is we're recognizing that this vibration has some value. And this vibration that's associated with our feelings is something that we can choose and we can direct and we can start to motivate and move, and that those feelings and vibrations are also something that have been controlled or manipulated in the past. And so now we're sort of looking at all of these feelings and thinking, wow, my emotions are valuable. And I'm also want to bring in here that when the crystal energy children started to arrive in the late 80s, early 90s, that they're these vibrational beings. And so they sort of cross time and space through videos, through social media, and they find the vibration of what works for them. And so their arrival sort of enhanced the ability to put these vibrations over this digital web, this digital internet, so that now we're connected on such a different level. So emotionally, we also have these relationships and how we interact with each other, how we interact with ourselves, how we interact with each other, how we parent, how we view our lineage, how we interact with all other souls on this planet. So we grow and we expand and we adapt. And all of this is impacting our relationships because some of them can grow and expand with us and some of them can't. So sometimes there's a lack of connection. Sometimes there's this rigidity, which is, you know what, I'm going to stay here. You need to go forward. I'm always thinking that as we're in new territory, I think of what was it like to believe that you wanted to go west for freedom. And some got to St. Louis and they were like, you know what? This is good. This is much better than I thought. Some, you know, got into the expansive prairies and they said, this is where I want to be. And others said, there's mountains up there. I want to go over those mountains. And then some said, I need to be able to cross those mountains and find out what's on the other side. And so at every stage, there's going to be in our emotions, in our relationships, someone who can stay and someone who can go. So we're releasing old relationships. And we're aligning with new. And we're finding people that collaborate with us, people that vibrate with us, people that resonate with us. And so there's endings and there's beginnings and there's redefinition in all of it. So this is another yet new territory, is that our emotions are being stretched and our ability to adapt with them and to release is huge. So the fourth one is spiritually. So this, you know, what I'm going to say is we are being blown wide open. We are deepening our faith. We are expanding beyond the faith and our faiths and dogmas. We're seeing similarities and patterns. And it's almost as if we go contraction with like, take a deep breath in, and then we exhale and we expand. And so what we're noticing is that when we expand, we're going into places we never knew before. So that what we're experiencing as a collective is a big, great awakening. Big, great, how's that? Like, it's a great awakening. At times, we're in times where what we know, what we are dependent on, what we've trusted, what we've invested in, is beginning to move and shake and rattle and change right underneath us. So we have to stop and assess. what's really going on here? What does this mean to me? What do I believe in? What guides me through all of this? So when we're in a new territory, when we're in something that we've never been in before, we don't just, plow ahead and go, I don't care, I'm just going to go for it. I think that the wiser way is to sort of slow down and take it all in. We go to noticing everything. Then we proceed with caution, which is, how's my body feeling? How's my physical feeling? How's my mental feeling? How's my emotions feeling? How are my emotions doing? How am I feeling? And what am I noticing? What am I able to handle spiritually? So some of us love this new territory, like me, obviously, and some don't, because it's different. It's rattling us out of our comfort zones. So as part of these videos, I always give you some tips, right? So what I'm going to say is that the first tip is that mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, acknowledge where you are. Sort of do a quick little assessment. Where's my mind? Where's my body? How am I feeling? What's my heart doing? What am I able to feel spiritually? Because now that we're in new territory that we haven't been in before, this is a big step. So what we do is we the most important thing is as we assess this is we say, I don't know that I can turn around and go back. Turning back isn't an option anymore. So what do I need to do to let go of what happened before and step forward? It's almost like, like when you're skiing, there's a point where you get over a cornice or you get down a hill and you're like, it's too hard to go back up, so I might as well go down. You have to make that decision. It's time. Let go of the turnaround and go forward. Number 2, slow down and open up all of your senses. Use your olfactory, use your throat chakra, use your ability, your intuition to sense what's going on, okay? And then look at, where am I right now? And think of the explorers or the pioneers crossing, like we've talked about, crossing the country. Look at hikers or backpackers or sports players, anyone who plays any kind of sports. You go in prepared, but whatever happens, happens. You have to respond to it. Right? You just have to respond. So the most powerful skills that we can have is to scan and take it all in with curiosity and go, so this is what I'm seeing. Number 2, scan it. This is what I'm seeing, and assess it. Slow it down, assess, see what's going on. Number 3, place yourself into an ability of adaptiveness and responsiveness, which is sort of like, I played a lot of sports. You get on the balls of your feet when you play softball, when you play field hockey, when you're diving. These are the things that I used to do. Ski all the time. You get to your center of gravity and you're ready. And then you look around, and whatever happens, you know which direction you have to move. So when we are in a responsive ability where we're willing to try something new, like, what is it? Are we going to follow the rules? Are we going to bend the rules? Are we going to leave the rules behind? What is it that we have to do as we're guiding ourselves forward? Because this is brand new and we've never been here before. Number 4, trust yourself. Trust yourself and create. Expand this unknown territory within you and see how it feels. Take a step. Broaden it and go, this is not, I'm still feeling safe. Here we go. Take another step. Try new things. Take some chances. Get to know new people. Ask questions and shake off all of those old stagnant beliefs and thoughts and expectations that you've had, because those aren't going to help us right now. The ways that we used to solve the problems aren't going to work on these new ones. So all we can do is sort of shake them off and say, I'm here. Where do I need to go? And last, number 5, is I've been watching the harmonic convergence, which is on Unify, and they've been doing a countdown down to July 14th, which is a massive global meditation. And it's duplicated, if not expanded, off of the 1987 harmonic convergence. And one of the speakers was Billy Carson. And what I liked that he said was that when you take fear plus vulnerability, that equals courage. So of course we're going to have fear in our body. We've never been here before. And vulnerability, which is, this is what I know about myself, really know about myself. This is who I am. This is what I know how to do. When we combine those two and we step forward, there's courage. And courage is really where we're emotionally feeling the fears, we're feeling the vulnerability, and we're demonstrating courage with each step. So when we're on this new edge, when we're in this new frontier, and when we don't know where to go, our vulnerability and our ability and our courage to step forward is all we have. And we can assess that through these 4 elements. Whether we go in the physical, yeah, of course my stomach's a little nervous. Our mental, these are the thoughts that I keep wanting to go back or wanting to duplicate. Third, how am I feeling? And fourth, what am I trusting? What am I really seeing out there? So this is the kind of stuff that I've been doing in my coaching practice. Has gone from coaching family systems in therapeutic programs to understanding family systems and deep, deep changes through traumatic events, to understanding traumatic events in relationships, and now looking at those energetically. So it's the same work, just done for you now on a much broader scale. So stick with me. I'm here every week on a Sunday morning on Facebook Live. You can find me on my YouTube station and tons of other videos that I've been doing. And have a great week. Get on the balls of your feet and sort of play with being responsive. Enjoy. Bye-bye.